place itself it's a beautiful place, and there is quite a bit of adventure to be had. In the lakes sometimes you have to go and hunt out the little gems. That gives you a little bit more adventure. So there's all sorts of reasons why the lakes is a fantastic place, but yeah, for me that's one of it. It's the adventure side of it.
Go out cragging, and if there's nobody about and you're up on a belay, the wind's slightly blowing, got the clouds rumbling by, then you'll soon fall back in love with it.
So the Lakeland Revival is sort of there to try and encourage climbers to just go off the beaten track a little bit, to just sort of like spend a little bit more time in the lakes, just exploring areas and places that they wouldn't normally go to. The lakes has some amazing climbing, and it's great that like people go to some of the local spots that are close and accessible from the road, but we'd really like to encourage people to go like a little bit more just round the corner, over a path, just walk for a little bit longer to sort of get some traffic through those areas that are potentially being lost.
Well, I think that, yeah, there's long debates about the crags getting dirtier. I think that's the main issue, isn't it, really? Years ago, people have dug out huge amounts of crags, like there's Great End Crag, there's Grange Crag. I've dug the odd one out myself.
The scene's come and gone and come back, and it's in a point where it's quite slow, I suppose, at the minute. There's not so many young up-and-coming climbers as there has been. Some
of the routes have got such a heritage to them that it's just a fantastic area to come and climb. And it is a shame that some of the climbs have fallen a little bit by the wayside. They've got a bit dirty, so it's doing something like this is really, really good to try and get that going again, really.
I've just realised where it goes. Very mossy and wet, potentially. So we're going to do an abseil to give it a scrub.
So we just thought it would be a great opportunity to get some of these lines climbed. Some of them have had first ascents in like the 1920s, and some of them more recently. So there's a huge variety of different kind of techniques, whether it's crack climbing or face climbing.
It did take a while to find some holds actually, because yeah, like I said, there was a lot of crap on it. But once we cleaned it, it's a worthwhile route, and yeah, it's quite enjoyable.
It's literally like a wall of moss that's like that thick. So when you pull the moss off, it's like soaking rock underneath. And then out to the left is a groove, which has no gearing. So it's a bit spicy.
It's a bit good, and I'll leave it.
I think it needs reviving because there are so many great lines here. Climbing started here in the Victorian era and through the Edwardians and First World and Second World War, when climbing was coming out of what was sort of the gullies and chimneys era into the face era. Where you get the opportunity to be much more technical. So there really is a huge variety of routes here.
Not even sure if I should be topping out this way, but I'll go.
Take it on, Blue! Blue! Blue!
Take it on, Blue!
He is now. Okay.
It's especially interesting, I think, that the Lakeland Revival is happening this year because it is a centenary of the First World War, and that had such a huge effect on the climbing community in the Lake District. I mean, the Felham Rock Climbing Club, it was the first rock climbing club, started in the early 1900s, and a third of their membership died in the First World War. So for me, that's very, very poignant, and I think it's a good time for us to come back to the Lake District and remember the pioneers of British rock climbing, which really were here.
Well, there's not many footholds. It's actually quite tricky. So in the afternoon we went over to Great End Crag in Borrowdale, and it was about 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and the approach to this was pretty epic. You could tell not many people went to this crag. It was like, there was ferns and trees, and it was basically bushwhacking to get up there. So we decided not to ab it because we didn't really have time, and we were going to have a look at Nagasaki grooves. We went up 2 pitches of the E1 first, and then Ryan was going to have a go at the E4 pitch.
Not even sure if I've come up the right groove. Might have to get across there.
And from the ground, it looked amazing. You know, it did look like a genuine good route, clean line. Well, not clean line, but just obvious lines, bottom to top. If I had a brush with me, I thought I'll, surely be able to clean it on the way up, but there was no chance. So I ended up just sort of scooting round onto the E1, and every now and again getting a glimpse down the groove, and just thinking, yeah, I'm glad I didn't try and go up there because there was no footholds, no handles, nothing. You couldn't even. There was not even any gear placements, so it would have been a nightmare.
It was really great to go up to the Lake District and meet all the shop staff and locals who are really enthusiastic about the area, and it is actually thriving, the climbing in the lakes, but we just need more people outside of the lakes to come up and visit at the weekends and for holidays.
And the biggest thing in the headlines recently has been James McAfee doing his 100 extremes. I mean, that is an incredible feat of endurance. I think the best thing about what James did was how passionate he was about the history of those routes and doing them all together. He talks about kind of climbing through ghosts, and I think that's what you do when you climb in the Lake District. You really experience the spirits of climbers past, and that's all that Mountain Heritage is about. Fulfilling those stories and then contributing to them again. And that's certainly what the Lakeland Revival is really about for me, is the fact that we're climbing something and sharing our experience of that, whether it's writing the report or the Instagramming or the Twittering. Even though it might sound ridiculous, that's heritage here and now.
Okay, so how do you get involved in the Lakeland Revival? Step 1, choose an unclimbed route from the specified list. Step 2, climb it, get a photo, make sure you include the crag, your partner, and sort of like the events of the day. Step 3, visit the climber's shop or Needle Sports and show them your photo from the day. Step 4, leave your route feedback with the shop staff, and they can use that to inform the guidebook writers for later editions of guidebooks in the Lake District. Then at the end, you end up with a free Arc'teryx t-shirt or chalk bag.
All right, Kay, I'm safe. Beautiful. You've been getting bored up here.